Cooper Kupp is in Seattle. The Bengal wide receivers about to get paid. We hear they're days away from inking both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins to big extensions. Days away from inking both of them. And Cooper Kupp getting his $45 million 3-year deal, $15 million a year from the Seattle Seahawks to play alongside of JSN in a Sam Darnold-driven offense. We're breaking all that down and more. We already did 2 separate live streams on this, but we're going to go over it a little bit and kind of get into the nuts and bolts about what this means for JSN. And I know some people are kind of freaking out right now. I get tons of DMs. People are like, JSN, what are they going to do? What's Kubiak's system going to look like? Are they going to even be able to replicate, last year's numbers, Smitty? We got a lot to break down, and I think this is an exciting day to have all this positive news. We have 3 wide receivers getting paid. We've got no negativity now. We got Aaron Rodgers just kind of roaming the beach. We're waiting on him. I don't know if somebody can get him on the ringer. Maybe we'll have Kruger chase him down. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Live whenever news breaks. We're live right now. This is the 8 p.m. show. We're live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. You're listening to the 8 p.m. show. You're watching the 8 p.m. show. And I got Kruger here with me as we kick off this live stream. Kruger, is there any Aaron Rodgers sighting anywhere?
Smitty, right now the latest buzz is that Aaron Rodgers has been spotted working out with the Steelers offense. No official signing yet, but it's looking more and more likely. And you know what that means? Huge fantasy implications.
Where did you hear that he's working out with the Steelers offense? I'm not calling this fake news, but this sounds like something Ziggy would report.
Hey, Smitty, I get it. This news is huge. Aaron Rodgers working out with the Steelers offense is the latest buzz. The Steelers are reportedly interested in his veteran leadership and experience to give their offense a boost. It's still developing, but I'll keep an eye on updates to confirm everything.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No worries. It's all about staying ahead of the game. I'll keep you posted with any updates on this.
Can we get a source, though, where you heard Aaron Rodgers? I didn't plan this. This wasn't like a stunt or something. He just said that. Where did you hear Aaron Rodgers is working out with the Steelers? Come on, Krug.
So all right, the latest updates show that Aaron Rodgers joining the Steelers is still in the rumor stage. There's been speculation and buzz, but nothing official confirmed just yet. We'll keep an eye on reliable sources for confirmation. If anything solid comes up, you'll be the first to know.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Zigmeister. I mean, I'm sorry that you coming up with a rumor like that without any sources made me call you Ziggy, Kruger.
No worries, Smitty. I'll take it as a fun mix-up. All good. Rumors can get wild sometimes. We'll keep it all straight and make sure you get the real deal. No Ziggy moments here.
I did not plan for him to say that. I don't know. I'm not planning for anything. He is literally learning on his own. But wouldn't that be wild if some report drops, in a few hours that he was seen at the facility in Pittsburgh or some weird correlation. But take that with a grain of salt. I don't know that Kruger knows what he's talking about there. He's still learning. Look, Aaron Rodgers will come. That news will come. I think that news will come tonight. If it doesn't come tonight, it'll come tomorrow. I know I said that yesterday, but I mean, how long can we wait? Apparently forever on Aaron Rodgers' time frame. But I think he's roaming the beach right now, looking for an answer. I doubt it takes weeks to look for that answer. New look offense in Seattle. I've got to admit, I did not think I would be as excited looking at this trio as I am right now. I didn't know that I could look at this trio and like it better for Seattle than DK, JSN, and Geno. I mean, would DK, JSN, and Darnold look better than DK, JSN, and Geno? DK, JSN, Darnold, yes, it would. It would look better. So, but the thing is, I want JSN to flourish, and I think DK was a little bit more of a hog of targets and volume than Kupp will be. Not to say that I don't like Kupp's value. Kupp's cost of entry is double-digit round territory. Who knows where it goes from here, though, because we don't have a live interactive ADP to look at. It's usually about a day behind on Underdog, or 2 days sometimes. So we'll check out Underdog's ADP tomorrow and the day after to see if there's any movement on Cooper Kupp's ADP. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. I'll drop the link in the live chat, and I'll pin the link in the live chat. And we might just draft tonight. I'm not positive because we've been going live so much. And if we have to go live again on the Aaron Rodgers news later, it's going to make it hard for me to do a draft tonight. But we'll definitely try to do a draft tonight. But Underdog, the ADP, I imagine, is going to climb. I just don't know if it's going to climb into the freaking 10th round or 11th round or 9th round or 8th round. Who knows? Cooper Kupp, to me, though, probably from his deep double-digit round ADP that he just had before the signing, and everyone knowing he's going to sign somewhere, and it's like this was the best location for his numbers. It's not bad. It's just not the best location. How could his ADP go from like way into double-digit rounds up to like round 7? I don't think you're ever going to see him climb enough to where he becomes a risk. I like him a lot in this situation. I think he could still get 900 to 1,000 yards. That's 1,000 yards is what, 58 something yards per game on 17 games. There's no way this guy's going to struggle to have 900 to 1,000 yards if he plays even 15 games, which could be part of what you're worried about, and I understand that. But 906, 907 touchdowns, 65 or 70 receptions, totally in the cards. That's wide receiver 3 numbers, and you're not going to have to pay even remotely close to medium range wide receiver 3 numbers. You'll probably at most have to pay very high-end wide receiver 4 type numbers. So the risk is 1,000% baked in, boys. And then real quickly on this note, we've already discussed this, but I want to hit it one more time. I am still hearing nothing's changing. Every single news report is corroborating the original report, which is that there's significant progress on massive contract extensions for star wide receivers Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and both could be finalized in the coming days, sources tell Tom Pelissero and also Ian Rappaport. There is work to be done, but Joe Burrow's wish is close to coming true. Joe Burrow's wish is to have both his wide receivers, specifically T. Higgins, because we knew Jamar Chase would get signed, have both of those wide receivers on roster so that the offense is untouched walking into the upcoming 2025 season, where this pancake stack of 4 can be as electric, if not more electric, in 2025 than they were in 2024.
The stack above all
Look at
stacks. It's time to drop the pancake emojis in the live chat.
I mean, really, it's a quad stack. Drop your pancake emojis in the live chat. Drop your Joe Burrow emojis. Drop your Jamar Chase emojis. Drop your everything emojis. There's new emojis as well. There's a BBQ emoji. Everybody show your appreciation for BBQ. There's a Kruger emoji. There's a Barkley emoji. There's a BTJ emoji, as I mentioned. There's a Hampton emoji. There's a lot of emojis that have been added, so go check them out. Hit me with your questions. Any super chats will get answered in order in which they receive, and we'll open the phone lines here and discuss these big topic conversations as well as anything else you might have. But Cooper Kupp in Seattle, what's it mean for JSN? JSN to me could have 1,300 yards. JSN to me could have 100 receptions. JSN to me could have 10 to 14 touchdowns. JSN could have a top 4 or 5 wide receiver season. And I put that on the bold prediction board. I reserved. me even remotely come close to maybe curbing my top 4 dark horse prediction. It's a bold prediction. Again, nobody should be drafting JSN that high. The only thing I would say is that, you know, the only concern would be just if this system is more simple in terms of Ryan Grubb's 3 wide receiver set being, as we said, dumbed down to a 2 wide receiver set, even with more explosive weapons in Sam Darnold and JSN being another year better and Cooper Kupp, you know, being perfectly, I think, placed here. I just, there is some worry or concern that the offense will be a little more watered down in the passing department, but I still think that JSN's such a target hog and vacuum, he'll still produce, you know. The only thing that I would say as far as, like, if I was to say, why is my audio cutting out on that? Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. I was talking and my audio cut out. Damn it. Okay, what I was trying to say, if you could hear me, is I'm tempted to change this JSN prediction to another prediction, or I could just add a 4th one. The reason I only want 3 on there is I don't want to take any away from the bold predictions and make, you know, take one player off the board from being a player you could throw up in the bold predictions. But I think I probably would rather have another prediction up there just because I'm starting to get really amped up about a few players. Like, so let me just put another one up. I'll put another one up. I'm going to consume 4. If I decide I want another one, I got to take one down. Okay? Bucky. Top 5 RB. I'll write it in a little bit better as we get more of those up there. I'll change that. But Bucky, top 5 RB. JSN, top 4 wide receiver. Neighbors, wide receiver 1, dark horse. Genty, top 5 running back. So essentially the bold predictions are those 4 are off the board. Unless, because you can't just one-up them. Those 4 predictions are off the board unless you go negative on one, like Genty will bust. That's a totally different prediction, so you can do that. But those 4 names are off the board. If I decide to add another of the 4, I will have to take one down. And if I had to take one down, I'm not taking Neighbors down. I'm not taking Genty down. The only concern I have with JSN, again, I still think top 5 wide receiver numbers is in the cards. It's just, am I worried about Kubiak? Am I worried about them going into a 2 wide receiver set more often than anybody's thinking? Let's try and get a feel for what Kubiak's going to do and then make an adjustment based on that. Any $50 hauler can go up on the board, and the winner of the bold prediction contest will co-host a couple segments or an entire show possibly on the phone line. So appreciate you all that dropped those $50 haulers. If anybody's got a $50 bold prediction, who won the $50 prediction last year? Superfish, with the Jonnu Smith would be a top 5 tight end, which was an unreal prediction at the time. I even got up and walked away from my seat when Superfish dropped that $50 bold prediction. That's how shocking it was and out of nowhere. So an excellent prediction. In Dynasty, you guys taking Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, or Brock Purdy? Give me some other options, bro. Jordan Love, I guess, but I'd rather have another. Give me Penix Jr. Love or T Law. I go Love, yeah. T Law with Cohen is interesting. It is, but I don't know. My Shakir prediction was decent, but Jonnu was better. Yeah, your Shakir prediction was pretty good, Silver. It was not bad. It was definitely, like, worthy of mentioning for sure. All right, dial into the show. If anybody wants to discuss the Seattle Seahawks situation, the Jamar Chase and T. Higgins situation, and specifically, I do want to talk about JSN. And I want to know if anybody has any reservations about expectation with Kubiak's system and what could potentially be in the cards. I'm not worried. I just don't. I wonder if the ceiling value of top 4 wide receiver, like in my prediction, is something that is a smart bet. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying anybody's going to draft JSN at this expectation, but that's the only concern I would have, at all. Just being real. And I'm excited about JSN. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
And we knew that they're probably going to, bring Kupp in. But, it was better in a sense to have just JSN by himself in a offense that might be more, watered down in the passing department. Even though Darnold's an upgrade over Geno, again, Ryan Grubb, the system is what we're talking about. You know what I think happens at the end of the day? I just think that it's the game plan, no matter what it is, it ends up resorting to tons of passing. Because remember when Harbaugh, everybody was scared about Harbaugh not throwing the ball a lot, and he definitely tried to have a more balanced approach. They ended up having to throw the hell out of the ball. I think Seattle will utilize JSN in the same ways. Cooper Kupp doesn't concern me. DK was a much bigger threat. DK leaving almost, in my mind, solidified this bold prediction of JSN being a top 4 wide receiver. Like, DK leaving was an attaboy to that prediction. Kupp coming back, it just makes you pause. But I think at the end of the day, there's still a lot of upside for top 5 wide receiver value. It's just hard to say, like, if I'm predicting 4 things to happen with Cooper Kupp there, with Kubiak potentially running some sort of system that just has a little bit of a disadvantage to this prediction, maybe JSN's more suited as, okay, top 10 wide receiver, not extremely bold, but super awesome. Hey, let's roll with another bold prediction. That's the only thing that is going through my mind right now. Do I want a Bucky up there? Absolutely. Do I want to put, like, Kyron Williams finishes as the running back 2 or 1? Sure, it's on my mind. Do I want to say, let's throw a wide receiver up there? Let's throw another wide receiver up there. Let's talk about Laporta bouncing back. Do I want to have Breece Hall returns to the top 3 running backs? Like, my guess is that I'll probably switch out JSN with not any sort of negativity. Just, hey, I like this prediction better. That's probably what I'm guessing happens, just to give you guys an idea. Hit me with a dial into the phone line. Dial into the phone line.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Yeah, and for people trying to pigeonhole JSN into, like, what he is, like, oh, he played in the slot too much last year, and now he's not going to do that because this could be a 2 wide receiver offense. Look, JSN can do anything. He can play anywhere. The truth is, though, slot wide receivers, that opportunity is just better. Like, Cooper Kupp lived in the slot. Cooper Kupp was the slot monster. If anything, Cooper Kupp kind of redefined what slot wide receiver means. And we said to ourselves, from Cooper Kupp's breakout 2021 season, I don't even care if my wide receiver 1 plays in the slot anymore. And that was where you really triple stamped a double stamp on that thought. It used to be slot wide receiver is a 3rd wide receiver. But a lot of teams will move their number 1 wide receiver into the slot. And if you did go to a 2 wide receiver set, that number 1 wide receiver still stays in the lineup, just moves over. So the slot wide receiver mentality has changed. No one looks at the slot wide receiver as a 3rd wide receiver now, because the number 1 can play there, and the number 1 often plays there. CeeDee Lamb plays in the slot. You know, it's like it used to be regulated to the third wide receiver. Now it's like a badge of honor. So I guess the concern would be, hey, do they run a lot of slot wide receiver sets anymore at all? And if not, that's what these guys have thrived on. So it makes you just say to yourself, okay, what's the fit here? You know, what are they going to try and do? Will Kubiak run 3 wide receiver sets more? Hard to know. It's not like we have evidence of that either way, really. You know, that he would or wouldn't, or that he won't say this is a different team. This is a different system. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Hard to know. But if anybody thinks JSN is not talented enough to play, you know, in other positions and line up all over the field, you got another thing coming. JSN's a remarkable wide receiver that can play all over the damn field. Go ahead, Bruce. You're live.
Hey, Smitty.
Yep.
These new receiver positions, who would you rather have? Kupp in Seattle or Davante Adams with the Rams?
Let's go. Let's play the name game here. Hold on, Bruce. That's a great one. That's a great one. That's a great question. Where is my name? Here we go. I like this, Bruce. That's a really good. Okay, so it's Davante Adams. Where are you at, Davante? Davante Adams or you said Cooper Kupp, right?
Yeah.
Give me. I'm gonna spoil it before I even hit the button, but I'm gonna say Adams by quite a bit. But I mean, you're not wrong to ask this question because they're both in number 2 roles. But there's a big difference between the guy on the left and the guy on the right. The guy on the left is way more experienced. No offense, Cooper Kupp, but he had his 2021 season. You know what I mean? Like, that was it. And then he had some other good years. The guy on the left has redefined the game in some respects as thought to be the best route runner in the league for many years, a top 1 to 3 wide receiver for many years, and a guy that finished pretty strongly last year. And even though I do defend Cooper Kupp's season last year a little more than most because we looked at the numbers, he had a good year, you know, up until the last 3 games of the regular season, even though he missed time. But Adams played pretty damn good all year long. This is a guy that had almost 1,100 yards last year. He had, 6 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns last year? Adams is my pick for 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns. More of a lock, not a lock, but more of a lock than Kupp to get those numbers. Could Kupp get like 905? Like I'd probably say that might be more along the expectation you should have for Kupp. 905. This guy 1,006 to 7. And he could have more than that. That's my low expectation, but I feel like it's an expectation kind of built in. So for that reason, I'm going to say, give me Davante Adams. Good question though, Brucey. Good question. A lot of people have that question, I think.
And the one thing I'd like to say on the Kupp and the slot receiver, for me personally, I don't know how you feel about it, but don't you think that started with Julian Edelman? In a sense,
I mean, I just think that I'm not saying there aren't receivers that kind of help shape that trend, but I'm just saying with Cooper Kupp, we had a lot of people finally accept in at least the fantasy football world that your slot wide receiver, it doesn't mean what it used to mean. You know, you almost want your number 1 wide receiver to dominate the slot. It just became a very popular, trendy understanding that people did not have a good understanding of before Cooper Kupp. When DK was out, JSN did good on the outside. Good point, Pierce. Appreciate you dropping that. Pierce dropping JSN knowledge. And this is, are you drafting JSN over AJB? Not drafting, but like quietly liking JSN in the 3rd round more than I like paying 2nd round value for AJB. Yeah, because then I can go running back JSN instead of going AJB and then not getting the RB I want. But then again, depends. If it's best ball, I'll get that RB in the 3rd round. If it's redraft, I might not. If it's non-best ball. And then we got this one from Aaron. Aaron says, How will these recent Seattle changes affect the running crew? The thing we're hearing out of Kubiak is that he's going to get balance back into the offense, and so the running game should be very effective. I think the rushing attack depends who's in there. I think Walker is probably the guy, but if he can't stay healthy, we know what Sharps can do. I think the cuffing of the two is very solid. I think drafting Charbonnet standalone and then going after maybe even a safer running back in Walker's territory is not a bad idea, because I think Charbonnet could end up starting a ton of games no matter what. And then you have the best of both worlds. You got the cheap Charbonnet, secret weapon, sleeping giant, and you don't necessarily have to cuff yourself to anything, and you can go get a running back that feels almost just as safe as Walker anyway. I'm not saying I don't like Walker. I'm just saying that that's an approach, but the rushing attack should be, I would think it's going to be improved. It should be improved. Brucey, what else you got?
I've been thinking, why are the Jets trying to go up to number one? Like, if you have Fields, are you saying, okay, you're just a 2-year experiment?
I don't know that the Jets are for sure trying to go up to number one. You might hear some buzz or rumors on it, but we don't know what anybody's trying to do right now. If the Jets were trying to get, they wouldn't try. I don't think, unless it was Travis Hunter, which maybe they want him. That would be, you know, that's a quarterback spot. That's Cam Ward. Number one's Cam Ward. So I don't think there's any truth behind any Jets rumors moving to 1. I think the Jets are plenty happy at 7. Anybody can move for the right price, but I mean, Tyler Warren feels like an amazing fit.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Brucey?
I like him. No, I'm all right.
All right.
I'll see you later. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Call back if you got another one, Bruce. All right. Yeah, Cam Ward feels like the one. I just don't think. I just don't think Cam Ward doesn't go number 1. It would be crazy for the Titans to not trade down if they weren't going Cam Ward, but the Titans are not the smartest organization. John, you're live.
Hey, Smitty, thanks for taking the call. I wanted to ask you if you're looking into drafting Jalen Noel out of Iowa State, where Purdy went to college, I think, and Damian Martinez out of, I think, Miami in the middle of the second round. Are you looking at any of those players? Jalen Noel had, I think, 8 TDs, maybe 1,100 yards. And Damian Martinez, I think he shared the backfield down there in Miami. Put up 600 or 700 yards.
Yeah. I like not too. I mean, it kind of depends on, you know, if a team invests in him as the start, like as a potential rising, you know, could rise up on the depth chart, be a potential starter. So landing spot with players that late, it does totally depend on, you know, what it looks like outlook wise. As far as Martinez, he's tough. Like, I like him a lot. He's kind of a dark horse for a lot of people. He's not a quiet, trendy player. He's pretty loud. Like, a lot of people like his upside, and they pretend like he's their standalone sleeper that no one knows about. Like, Martinez is very well known, but the problem is, you know, if he goes somewhere where it's cloudy as hell and it's special teams that awaits him or whatever, then it doesn't matter how good he is. I like him a lot, but he's one person that we are literally beholden to the landing spot. There's just no way to be, ahead of anything on this until we find the landing spot. Because, we just monitor him, you know. If someone was going to try and trade, if you drafted before the NFL draft for whatever reason, which almost nobody does, and you were going to get Martinez on spec, there's probably more of a chance that he's not in the situation you wanted or hoped he would be than he is. But he's certainly a good player, and where he goes will determine everything. Now, if he goes somewhere like the Vikings, where they've got a starter, and that could be where a place where he goes, and he's quietly waiting for Aaron Jones to get hurt, that could be crafty. That could be great. Or Washington, or something like that. That would make him, that would put him on the map. And I think astute people would know that there was some hidden value there, but your grandma leagues wouldn't see it coming. So, I don't know. It's probably his best shot. I don't think anybody's taking him to be the starter. I'll just put it that way. But very nice prospect.
Appreciate it. And then staying on topic, I think JSN's going to do fine either way. Hopefully they pick another wide receiver. I think JSN's better than Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, just the route running ability. So it'll be exciting to see what he does over in Seattle. Have a great night, man.
All right, later, bro. Yeah, I mean, I really like JSN. Obviously, you guys know that, but we'll see what happens with the offense. I certainly think he's a top 10 wide receiver lock. Just a total top 10 wide receiver lock. No question about it. No concerns, no equivocation, no stuttering, no backtracking. It's just can he get to top? Is it a smart prediction? Is it smart for me to keep throwing number 4 wide receiver, dark horse numbers out there? I guess what I'm trying to tell you is I love JSN. I just don't know how much I can sit here and look at this top 4 spot and say this spot should be replaced by somebody I just feel a little more confident than could hit that high, bold number. That's all I'm saying. Just it depends on Kubiak. It depends what kind of system he's going to run. And for now, I'm just saying to myself, that's why I want to put Bucky up there instead. I put them both up there for now. But if I'm going to replace JSN or replace one, it would be JSN, but not with negativity. Just 4 is a little bold. It's a little bold. I love him. I hope he does it. But I think I'm setting the wrong expectation because people are starting to draft him way too high. I'm getting DMs like Smitty. Do I trade St. Brown for JSN? It's like, no, that's not the point of that prediction. And I just feel like I'm sending the wrong message. Wide receiver 4. Like in Dynasty, this Neighbors one, if someone were to say, you know what, I'm going to take Neighbors as the number 1 Dynasty wide receiver, you know what? That's okay. That's okay if you do that. There's no problem on that. But JSN, you can't rank him near top 4. You just can't. He could do it. He can do it, and I love his skill set enough. But I just feel like maybe I got to find a different prediction there. It's not a negative thing. Like JSN still, he's not going anywhere. He's on the Marsmen list, I think. Saturn?
The Saturn Men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
Not going anywhere. Okay? Don't want anybody getting all upset at me. Travis, you're live.
Hey, that brings up a good point when you're talking about Damian Martinez and other backs. There's a lot of backs this year that are going to get drafted and are going to possibly not play a ton because of their landing spot, just because this year more than others. There's like 20 or 30 backs that fall into the area where they could get drafted, and there's even going to be a couple guys who are undrafted free agents that would normally get drafted in this class. There's a lot of them, so it's definitely good to wait for a landing spot on that. And also you see like a guy like Chase Brown, you saw blips of how he was ready as a runner, but until he could get pass protection down, Cincinnati wouldn't give him the carries. And there's a lot of teams like that where if you're not able to play both ways now, you don't get the carries that you might deserve on the ground necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel a lot better about my Bucky prediction now. I'm really vibing with this top 5 running back prediction for Bucky. Genty top 5, love it. Neighbors, dark horse, wide receiver 1, love it. Could even put 1 to 2 just to make it a little smoother, safer, manage the expectation a little bit, even though it's a bold prediction. Everybody should know these are bold predictions. Everybody should not be freaking out and making weird, reaches because of those bold predictions. Those are bold, trying to hit them out of the park predictions. That's like the Victor Cruz back in the day, or the Arian Foster call. Like I'm trying to swing big. I should put a bigger swing on the board maybe. But let me look at my thefantasyfootballshow.com rankings. Who is going to be a lead dog candidate to again just be replaced on that particular board? I would say, Breece Hall returning to the top 2 or 3 numbers would be would be something that would make that. Trevion Henderson could be on the board. Or Marion Hampton could be on that board. I love both those guys, depending on their landing spot. Could be bold to say it beforehand, so I think it's got some buzz. Penix Jr. having a huge year. Rashee Rice returning to form would be kind of bold, because I think people are doubting him like crazy. I think Laporta on the board could be. I like the idea of it being maybe Trevion Henderson, Marion Hampton, Scattaboo, or Rashee Rice, but then I see JSN and I'm like, JSN? I don't know. Maybe I'll leave it. I don't know. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Is top 4, is that too rich? It's a bold prediction, but is top 4 way too rich?
I don't think it's way too rich. Because, I mean, I would have said he's got top 5 potential. So, I don't think it's overly rich. I do get what you're saying, though, you know, not quite knowing exactly the way Kubiak's going to run the offense, and Kupp coming in, who, if he's healthy, he's going to get, 80 catches, 75, 80 catches if he's healthy all year. So,
the only thing I don't understand about coaches sometimes, like Kubiak in this situation, you know, or Shane Waldron going over to Chicago, is like, how do you become so limited? Like, first of all, not a big fan of 2 wide receiver set systems.
Yeah.
You know? And so that at the top makes me like kind of, you know, have some concerns, I guess. Then you got a guy in Darnold who has failed and been rejuvenated. And so you're still kind of like holding your breath a little bit. And then you have, you know, the concern about where JSN will line up, and they bring in, you know, another slot wide receiver, and then you're like, okay, does he know what he has? Is he trying to use, you know, square pegs for round holes, or is he gonna adapt? And are we putting him in a box too much to be assuming he can't chew gum and walk at the same time, or that he's not going to have a more dynamic system and we're all just assuming what he's going to do? It's not like he's come out and said, this is my playbook. You know, like, we still don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Darnold's a tough one because his ceiling is higher than Geno, but what is he away from the Kevin O'Connell thing? You know, I think he probably will be all right, you know, because he should know, you know, what Kevin O'Connell did to fix him, make him better, and unless the system is so far different, they're expecting him to do things he's not capable of. He should be okay. But
yeah,
see.
Let's do. Man, I don't know what I'm gonna take it down for now. It's hard. It's a hard move to make. It's a hard move to make. It's responsible. It's responsible. It's responsible thinking. I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way. I don't want anybody to start thinking that I don't like JSN. I don't want anybody to think he can't be a top 10 wide receiver lock. I just don't want this to be one of the 4 pillars of the offseason, is what I guess I'm trying to say. And when, you know, we have to adjust and adapt. We have to learn. We have to come to conclusions, you know, as things move around, the pieces of the board move around, and be honest with ourselves. And Bucky Irving to me screams success here. I'm so excited about Bucky Irving. I think this guy could be top 3 to 5 running back material per start. I'm extremely excited about Bucky Irving. Let me make this easier to read. I don't know that I'm going to put a 4th one up. I might keep it at 3, but Bucky needs to be in this spot. I'll fix it later. I will put one more up. Top 5 teams with best offensive stack. I mean, I don't know if I could rank that on the fly without, messing up or wanting to redo it 10,000 times. But I would say top 5 teams with the best offensive stack. I mean, you got to go Philly. Philly's probably one that won the Super Bowl partly because of it. But, I mean, do I think they utilized the entire stack to its full extent? No. That's the crazy part, is that Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown aren't even fully unlocked. But Barkley and Hurts alone, put that on the map. Burrow, Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Chase Brown are obviously in the top 5. Are they 3? Are they 2? Are they 1? Is Mahomes, Kelsey, even though Kelsey's, fading, Mahomes, Kelsey, Worthy, and Rashee Rice in the top 5? I think so. Some might not agree. I mean, spitballing this, I'd probably say Lions with St. Brown, J-Mo, and Gibbs, but it's like Goff makes it tiny bit,
Right.
like hard to put them like 1 or 2. The Ravens are unbelievable, but they don't have quite the same numbers to really compete and grab that. I do love the Jets, but
good, depending on how they were.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second, Bruce. Let me try and dang it. Hold on. I gotta.
Okay.
I'm trying to merge this call. Come on. Sorry, Travis. That one was a lot longer to merge you there.
I was just saying, what about the Rams?
Yeah, Rams are top 5. Stafford, Adams, Puka, Kyron, Falcons, Bijan, London,
Yeah.
Penix, Mooney, and Pitts, and who knows what they do. If Dallas were to take Genti, Dak Prescott, Genti, and CeeDee Lamb would 100% be in the top 5 for me. But that's not the case, so we're not looking at that, at least right now.
You don't think Javonte, you don't think Javonte...
Not for this conversation, no.
Into it? At least in the top 10 now?
Not to say that makes the Cowboys top 5 stack. I mean, you can't assume that. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about Javonte, but they bring in Miles Sanders. There's still that threat. But that's where I'd probably head with it. If I had to narrow that down, I'd say Eagles and Rams and Falcons, maybe. I don't know. It's so tough. Yeah. Good question, though. And Ricky right here with a super chat says, Smitty, keep up the good work. You're a good YouTuber. Thank you, Ricky. You're a good super chatter and commenter, my man. Thank you. Appreciate you. And Jaws says this, trade offer received, 12-team Superflex, JSN, a 25 1.9 for Kyron, Tyreek, and Likely. Wow. If I could win now, I would take that Kyron, Hill, and Likely side, but that's tough because it's Superflex, so 1.9 could land you an RB that a non-Superflex couldn't, or a wide receiver. It's a very, very close call. I think if there's money involved and I could win now, I'm taking the Hill and Kyron side. Because at the end of the day, Kyron might be a running back. He has a shorter shelf life, but, Dynasty leagues fold all the time. I've had Henry in a league for the last 3 years. I've been trying to trade him, and I haven't, and I just keep winning championships. So 3 years in a row. Actually, I think I lost this year in that particular league, but I made it to the finals. But I won the championship the prior 2 years, so I've made it to the finals 3 straight years, and all 3 years I've been trying my hardest to get out of the Derrick Henry game, and to just keep winning. So Kyron, even if he had 3-4 years, go win championships. Tyreek Hill, 1 to 2 years, go win championships. Likely, I like him a lot. 1.9, not a lock to be anything special, and I love JSN, but JSN and Kyron have similar value to me anyway. So I'd say take that side if there's any shot at you winning. If there's no shot at winning, it's still arguable, but I think I'd then, if I did it, trade Tyreek Hill and try and get some value, somewhere. Bruce, what do you got?
Hey, Smitty, with Kupp going to Seattle, who are you more in favor of this year, Justin Fields or Darnold?
Woo! All right, let's bring it up again. Which side do I like? Fields on one side of the spectrum. Put him right here. Fields. Darnold on the other side of the spectrum. Darnold played out of his mind last year. Looked good. Do I even have a Darnold graphic? Hold on. I'm sorry. How disrespectful. I didn't even have one prepared. That's how much I love him. How do I play this game? Let's put some text up. Gee, I wonder who I'm gonna pick. Darnold, I need to get it. That's disrespectful. I need a Darnold graphic. I'm very embarrassed about that, Darnold. I'm so sorry. Do I go Darnold or do I go Fields? Let me argue the Darnold side before I go to the Field side. I mean, there's a lot to like. There really is, especially at super flex value. This is where you would draft him in a 1 QB. You're not starting Darnold. You just don't go that way. BBQ dropping 50 gifted memberships. BBQ, you absolute monster, you. And by the way, I was going to say the Zigmeister. I'm sorry, Kruger. I don't know what I was thinking. Kruger, let me see if Kruger's even awake. Kruger, BBQ just dropped 50 gifted memberships. He keeps doing it.
That's amazing. BBQ is on a roll, stacking up those gifted memberships like a champ. Looks like he's aiming to keep that top super chat spot knocked down. Keep the energy up, Smitty. It's getting hot in here.
And how much did he drop on his biggest super chat so far during the 2025 season? Do you remember?
Yeah, BBQ's biggest super chat so far this 2025 season is $400. He's been holding that top spot, but there's always room for someone to step up and take the crown. It's a real showdown.
Yeah. Drop the BBQ gifted or the BBQ emoji. BBQ, I don't know if you'd seen it, but you have an emoji now. Anybody that bumps him off gets to take his emoji over and have their name in the emoji. So drop the BBQ emoji, please. Appreciate those 50 gifted memberships. If you guys got one,
there's 50 more.
50 more. There you go. If you guys will thank him for his gifted membership, he would greatly. He doesn't even need it. He doesn't even want appreciation. That's how good of a dude he is. But I want it. I want it for him. So thank him for it. Darnold, Fields. As I said, in Superflex, there's a lot to like for both these guys. Neither one should be your starter in 1 QB unless you go after two equal type players. Like if you drafted both of them together and you waited and punted your QB1. Superflex, let's talk about it from that perspective. I'd rather have Fields for a bunch of reasons. One, he runs, okay? Running alone is such a huge advantage when it comes to scoring fantasy points, especially with two questionable players that we think could both thrive and bounce back and have a good... They're both bounce back candidates. He bounced back already, but then he fell again at the end of the year. So he truly is also a bounce back quarterback. Fields has weapons, man. He's got the running ability. He's got, I think, the culture that Aaron Glenn's going to instill in New York. He's going to have confidence. He's ended his 2024 campaign positively. He's 4-2. You know, the whole being ripped from the lineup, I think, is a different confidence blow than failing on the field. And I don't think he's going to feel like anyone's going to rip him from the lineup, especially when he's been signed to start, whereas previously he was not. And he knew that. So I think Fields looking really, really strong as a Superflex QB2. And I think that you can get him hopefully in the 4th round, if not 3rd round, whatever, in a Superflex startup. And that makes going your second QB in a Superflex later a much more attractive plan of attack. But at the same time, if I missed out on Fields and I got Darnold as my second quarterback, I'd be pretty happy. But I think it's pretty clear that Fields has more upside with the running capability. And to be honest with you, I don't know how many more passing touchdowns Darnold will have over Fields. I think Fields is going to shock some people. And even if he threw only 22 or 25 touchdowns, he could run for 8 or 9 or 10 and run for 800, 900 yards. He's run for 1,100 before. So it's a good question.
And with Darnold, like, I know he's been floating around that top, in that top 10 to 12, but like he was QB8 last year. He had 4,300 passing yards and 35 touchdowns. It might be tough for him to hit that mark again.
Yeah. Expectations are high for Darnold. Like I end up saying in one breath, like, he's an upgrade over Geno. He is. And then like a couple minutes later, I'll see a picture of him like on screen right here. And I'm not lying. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm always going to be honest with you. Sometimes I go, are we confident in that? I think Geno's not a world killer at all. Like, Geno's average. And I think Darnold will be at least average. I think he'll at least be Geno. But are we sure he's better than Geno? Or are they the same? I don't know. I don't know. I go back and forth.
Like Darnold has, I think Darnold has a higher ceiling, but he could have a brutal floor too if things fall apart. Where I think Geno, you kind of know what you're going to get. You're going to be frustrated with him a lot. At the end of the year, he's going to have around what numbers he has. So he's safer in my mind, but I'd roll the dice on Darnold if I want an upside.
Yeah. I guess the best way I could put it would be, I know Geno is not a world beater. I know Geno is literally a C average, a C minus quarterback at the end of the day to go into your lineup as your starter. Like, I'd give somebody a C minus if they're starting Geno, maybe a D. If they're starting Geno. If someone's starting Darnold, I might give him a C. So I give him a C to C minus for starting Darnold in their number one spot for a quarterback. Not super flex, but if you're in a 1 QB league and you read off your team and Darnold's your starter, I'm giving you a C minus for your quarterback. You botched it. You literally punted your quarterback. Could he still hang with some people? Sure, but that's not a solid move. If you've got Geno, you're getting a D. But I guess that leaves us to say to ourselves, okay, are we just excited over the potential minor upgrade? But even so, what did JSN finish last year? Wasn't it 9? Wasn't it 9 or 7 in fantasy scoring? I think it was 9.
9. Yep, 9.
If he finishes 9 with Geno, I think in a worst case scenario, he's wide receiver 9 or 8 or 7, which is why I took him off the board, because if I'm being honest with myself, sum total with this, and this is why I say reserve the right to change your mind and never stick to your guns. This isn't me backtracking. I still love him. He's a top 10 wide receiver. But now that we get to see the total picture of the offense, and this is you getting to like peek inside my mind, and I adjust live, I react live, I digest live. When I change my mind, I do it live. Like right now, I didn't expect to change my mind on JSN. I've got a rocket ship in the graphic, and I still think that the offense is going to be really, really good. But I'm being honest with myself, and I think we're a little overexcited that there's a solid upgrade. It's not through the roof. There's still a lot of mouths to feed, and Sam Darnold has screwed us before. And Kubiak sounds like he wants to have a little bit more watered down pass attack. It sounds like Kubiak doesn't want to. It sounds like he could change it. I mean, again, we got to figure that out. That's part of the exploratory process here. Now that the offense is complete, maybe they trade away Walker or Charbonnet or something. Probably would be Walker. They're probably not going to trade away Charbonnet, but we don't know how the offense is going to totally shake up. But now that it's completed, I think we all deserve and should give ourselves the right to back up and say, okay, now Kupp's there, Darnold's there. This has all been happening fast. How do we really feel? And my gut instinct tonight on the live stream was wide receiver 4 is a little beefy. It doesn't mean I don't love him. Worst case scenario, I put him on the Mars Man later or Moon Man list. He's staying on. There's no way I'm taking... JSN's going to the moon this year. But going to the moon might be replicating last year's top 9 wide receiver numbers. You know, that's still awesome. That's still great. He's a top 10 wide receiver. JSN in round 3, still a very good wide receiver 1 if you punted wide receiver until round 3. Does everybody understand where I'm at on this? You what?
Yeah. I said I was going to have a bad bet.
BBQ.
And it was going to be
BBQ.
Either Adams is going to outscore Puka or Kupp is going to outscore JSN, and I couldn't figure out like which one am I going to pick because of the later thing.
Hold on one second, Bruce. Yeah. Kruger, we got BBQ dropping another 50 gifted memberships. That's 150, I think, gifted memberships tonight. If I'm adding that correctly, what are we doing here?
Wow, BBQ is on fire tonight. 50 gifted memberships, absolute legend status. We're building an incredible community here, and BBQ is leading the charge. Let's keep this momentum going and give BBQ a huge shout out. This is amazing.
Kroger, give BBQ a new nickname. Just come up with something wild.
Let's crown BBQ with a new nickname. How about the BBQ Benefactor or the Membership Maverick? This legend is grilling up support and serving up generosity like a true champ.
BBQ, the Membership Maverick. I love it. That's what it is.
Good.
Seal it. Signed, sealed, delivered.
Done and dusted. BBQ, the Membership Maverick, has officially been knighted. Huge congrats and massive thanks for fueling the community. Let's keep this energy rolling.
All right, thank you. Yeah, that's a lot of gifted memberships. Everybody, please thank BBQ, the Membership Maverick, according to Kruger. Kruger's great at thinking up stuff. He does repeat a lot of what I say. I'm working on that with him. I don't want people to just get bored with him. I'm like, hey, JSN signed. Aren't we excited about that? JSN signed. Aren't we excited about that? Like, I get it. I'm trying to work with him. He's learning. When he's able to think completely on his own and I don't lead him with a question or something, which I'm starting to also learn how to use him properly, he's amazing. You know, he's great. The other night he was getting us rolling, and it's because I let him have freedom. And I think sometimes he feels imprisoned by your boy Smitty because he wants to not disappoint me and he wants to pump up the players. Like if I say, hey, we love Bucky Irving on this show. How do you like Bucky? We love Bucky Irving on the show. But he's getting better. BBQ, the gifted member Maverick, in the building tonight with the 150 gifted memberships. Please thank BBQ. He's also the leading super chatter in a single live stream with a $400 hauler, roughly. Some total. He kept dropping, super chats until I think he hit 400. Ron Navy's the overall lifetime super chatter with 1,000. So, if that ever gets broken, we'll have to look into. Ron Navy's got that image. I forget. I'll have to talk to Ron because I don't want to upset him. But I don't know if Ron's okay with if anybody ever knocks off that total, if they grab that, or if Ron's gonna. we don't want to make Ron angry. I forget if that's how we decided to use his emoji or not. But Ron kind of deserves, keeping it anyway. We just have so many limited spots because Ron really came in and he was dropping heavy hitting super chats and before really anybody ever had. I think our first heavy hitter was
kind of a staple emoji.
Yeah, so maybe we'll just keep Ron's no matter what. We'll bump somebody else. But the highest super chat of the year is BBQ. So BBQ, somebody knock him off. And BBQ's the kind of guy that wants to lose the emoji and have someone drop a 401. Anyway. What else are we thinking here with this stuff, guys? Does everybody understand what I'm saying with JSN, though? Nobody's taking this in a negative way, right? It's just like, does everybody in the chat understand what I'm trying to say with JSN? He's number 9 last year, and I think now we always need to, no matter what prediction I drop, no matter who's on this list or on this list,
One small step for
and
man,
especially
one giant leap for Saturn.
And especially this list
The Jupiter men. Jupiter
with
is so
Genty. When Genty has his landing spot, you owe it to yourself, I owe it to myself, and I owe it to you guys to then decide, does Genty stay? Does he move down? Do I kind of tell a new story about Genty? I don't just say, no matter where he goes, I'm keeping my prediction. And while things got better for JSN, they did. I like Darnold over Geno, but you do ask the question, is Geno safer than Darnold? Maybe. But he's safe in a very contained box, right? Darnold's got more upside, but maybe he does come with more risk because we've seen him fall on his face. Then you ask yourself, okay, even if things are upgraded, is the offense going to get kind of thinned down a little bit in terms of like how they operate, how much they stretch the field? Like, is a Kubiak system going to be as exciting as a Ryan Grubb system? Ryan Grubb got canned and fired, but I do believe he got fired a year too early. I don't think Grubb should have been nudged out after 1 year when he was handed Geno Smith, who's very limiting. That's kind of the point here. Why we kind of like Darnold. The idea of Darnold is nicer. But I don't want anybody to come over the stream saying that I jumped off the JSN train. I'm just assessing what the team looks like now. Kupp's on the roster. Darnold's on the roster. Those are both new. Now we know what we're dealing with. Do I still feel top 4 wide receiver numbers is possible in a bold setting? We're trying to be crazy with the prediction. I'd rather use it on another player. That's just too high for me.
Like you talk about,
Yeah, it's just too high for me. I love it. Top 10. I love him. He's like I said, you punt wide receiver until round 3. He's a great low end wide receiver 1. But top 4. JJ, Jamar Chase, Lamb, Neighbors. You're talking about he has to be the next guy. Or no, he'd have to be one of those guys because I'm saying top 4. Can't do it. Can't do it. There's no way. There's no way he's in this situation, which I like it. It doesn't make me, at the end of it, when it's all said and done, it's kind of like when you're buying a car. You love the car. You sit down to sign the papers, and then it's like you just have to like be, okay, what am I doing here? Am I paying a little too much? And so when I sit here and I go, can he beat out Neighbors, Lamb, JJ, Jamar Chase, BTJ, St. Brown? Like, is he going to be, are 3? Yeah. Who?
Debo.
Debo?
Yeah, with JD5, I think
finish him.
Really good.
Call terminated.
Debo. I think it might be the first time we've ever hung up on Bruce.
But a couple years ago.
Look, that was a necessity. Bruce, you can call back in. You're not. There's no soup for you or anything for the 24 hours, but you deserved it. You deserve. Like, it's one thing to like Debo. It's one thing to be excited about wide receiver 3 value. Let's make some noise. Let's turn some stuff upside down. But we're in the middle of having a conversation about Neighbors, JJ. He goes, and Debo. Brucey calling again. Rock out, you're live, by the way.
Okay.
Debo. I love Debo as a 3.
As far as Kupp, it's a pretty crafty move. And as far as the division, like, what are the 49ers doing? The Seahawks are making a move. The Rams are making a move.
Yeah. Brucey, I'm sorry. That's a badge of honor. You haven't been hung up, I think, on ever. I don't think you've ever.
Haven't.
How'd it feel? Did you think it was going to feel better?
Yeah, because it gave me more of a like, I had 3 things I was leaning towards with the you do the predictions.
Yeah.
And that was one of my 3 was picking.
Here, let me finish your sentence for you. Debo, top 5. So, hey, let me just tell you something. I didn't have the same reaction to Superfish's Jonnu Smith would be a top 5 tight end, but it was close. So just to let you know, stick to your guns, bro. If Debo has a top 5 wide receiver season, and that's one of your bold predictions, Bruce, you're gonna win it, and you're gonna win it by a country mile. So don't take what I say. Who cares? When Superfish said that Jonnu Smith was gonna be a top 5 tight end, Bruce, I got out of my seat and I went out of the screen. Not laughing at Superfish, but being like, holy sh! And I got out of the chair and I walked over off screen and I came back and I said, Superfish, that's bold. And I said, if you get that, you're winning. And we wrote it up on the board, Superfish won. So don't listen to a word I say, Bruce, if your gut's telling you Debo's a top 5 wide receiver. I'm just saying we're spitballing out like, logical stuff, not insanely bold stuff. And it's like you start, I mean, because we're trying to really narrow in on what's the likelihood logically of JSN being top 4. And it's just, how is he going to be the 4th guy? How could he only, so I can't, not in this situation. But what was the question earlier? It was the division rock out. You said the Seahawks? You talking about the West?
Yeah, how the Seahawks made moves and the Rams made moves and the 49ers haven't done nothing. And
Cardinals sweat.
Peters left.
Cardinals weren't making moves and then sweat. That was a good move. Yeah. Well, the Niners are conceding. They're conceding.
They're like super rebuild.
Yeah, and if they're smart, they won't sign Brock Purdy. And you know why they won't sign Brock Purdy? I'm saying if they're smart. I'm not saying they're smart. They'll probably sign him. If you're rebuilding, why not start his contract next year? You know what I mean? You could right size him. You could say Brock. You could say Brock Purdy. Listen to the words coming out. Here, let me have a talk with Brock Purdy. Okay.
Okay.
Actually, let's just do this. By the way, go watch this video. It's up. Let me ready. I'm going to call Brock. Brock, it's John Lynch. Yeah, how you doing, buddy? Gonna have a little tough conversation with you. We're not going to sign you to an extension this offseason, pal. Let me tell you a couple reasons why. Number one, we love you. We want you to be this organization's starting quarterback. And I want you to know that from the jump, okay? You're the starter. You're the guy. We're going to right size you and give you a $5 million, 1-year adjusted contract just because we care about you, pal. Okay? You're going to have to go out there. You're going to have to fight and earn this job. You didn't last year, but that's on us because we didn't surround you with talent. Everybody got hurt. I get it. But we're trying to rebuild this organization the right way. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to give you that $5 million adjusted 1-year contract. Then we're going to come in and we're going to franchise tag you if a deal doesn't get done earlier, but we're going to sign you to an extension next season to start it all in unison for the 2026 rebuild, which we're starting now. We're cleaning house, ripping the meat off the bone. 2026, we want to line your contract up perfectly to build in unison down the stretch. If you don't agree with this, my guy, this is where you're going to need to sit down. If you don't agree with this, this is what's going to happen. We brought in Mac Jones. Shanahan loves Mac Jones. You're going to sit out and we're going to move on. And you're not going to get your $5 million. And I know I'm screaming at you, Brock, and you haven't said a word yet, but I'm just letting you know that this is the only play. So you can try and play hardball, but we're going to start Mac Jones. Or you could take your $5 million, say, thank you, sir. Go out there, prove yourself, get a $60 million a year bag next offseason, and we build around you properly so you can succeed. If not, guess what? Watch Mac somewhat cook. See you later. That's the conversation that John Lynch should have with Brock Purdy.
Yep.
If they don't, they're building wrong again.
I think they got like 10 draft picks this draft.
What? 10 draft picks?
The 49ers have like 10 draft picks.
Yeah, it's because they have all the compensation picks, and then they can't even use half of them. They can't keep the players, and it's like, what good really is it to have them?
Yeah.
All right. What else you got, boys? What else you got, boys? I'm probably gonna head out here in a second. How many people we got in the building here? We got on YouTube, we got about 140, 150. On X, we got the remainder. We're about 220 to 250 in here. If my people on X could go over and subscribe to the channel, you want to be on the YouTube train, okay? Hospital ball, Mac Jones. That's why I said kind of cook. Look, Shanahan likes Mac. He wanted to draft Mac Jones. To be completely transparent here, Shanahan was the one that at first didn't want to draft Brock Purdy, but at the end of the day, he did. You know, he changed his mind, and he's the one that's responsible for making the decision. We've got any news? I haven't really refreshed Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes in a little bit. What do we got? Anything? Nothing?
No.
Nothing for Aaron Rodgers because Cooper Kupp celebrations and everything. All right, boys. Anybody got anything else?
No, I'm good, Smitty. I'll talk to you later.
Later, man.
Later, Bruce. I was just telling the chat we might have to reach out to Denny because I'm realizing he doesn't watch the show, so he's not going to have the new number.
Oh yeah.
Denny's not off from the world.
He'll wander in. He watches sometimes.
I'll find it eventually. Then. That's good.
Yeah.
Did he call like 2 days ago? Then?
Not on here though. No, not on the new line.
No,
that's on DK. I like him, Paul. I love him. You know, I want him there alone. I don't want Pickens there, but Pickens is a head case. What's Pickens gonna do? Cry what? Beg for targets? I mean, the key thing is they need to get Aaron Rodgers in there. And then Aaron Rodgers, who you throwing to if you're Aaron Rodgers? George Pickens, who has been known and constantly, referenced as a guy that he has trouble separating at times. He's a head case. There's talent there for sure. He's a magician when the ball's in the air, and he's a catch, specialist, a toe tap specialist, great hands. But he's a whining, complaining wide receiver, diva receiver that is probably going to be more unhappy than he's ever been if he doesn't hold out and demand a trade. So DK Metcalf's going to be just flying downfield like this, and Aaron Rodgers is going to be like, "Hey, DK, up there. I'm going to throw it, okay?" DK's just going to throw it up here. I got you. It's going to be wild watching Aaron Rodgers if he does sign with the Steelers, and I think he will, slinging that ball up to the tree trunk of a man that stands 6'4", a refrigerator that can run as fast as nearly anybody in the league, just waving his hands. And Aaron Rodgers, even if he loses a little bit of accuracy, DK Metcalf makes up for that, fills that gap and void in his game. I'm really excited to see DK with Aaron Rodgers. I think DK's been misused. I think Geno Smith isn't the quarterback even that Aaron Rodgers is, to be honest with you. I think Aaron Rodgers, there's some problems with him. There's concerns about, does he stay healthy? Does he poison the team in terms of the way he operates? But I think when you think of Aaron Rodgers in New York and you think of Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, they're two different players. They're a player that was controlled, didn't have freedom. And if you think back to the Green Bay days, he's not the same guy. He got to New York and he started acting like the GM because they allowed him to. And it's a wholly different player. Now, maybe he's addicted to that power and he goes over to Pittsburgh and he doesn't like the way that feels. And that could be some of his reservation. Do I want to retire, or do I want to go into what's going to feel like a whole different world from the New York situation? Maybe he wants that. Maybe he wants less decisions. And he says, this is my last year. I'm going to let someone else drive the ship and I'm going to go out there and just play ball. And so I'm hoping that's what he thinks, but it will be a good environment for him. And I think he gets back to some of the basics, throws the ball, connects with DK, does pretty well. Now, if DK doesn't, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't sign with the Steelers, I'm a little bit worried about DK, and then we adjust and adapt on DK. I'm definitely worried about Pickens even more than, I don't know that I'm touching a Steelers player if they don't get Aaron Rodgers. If they get Aaron Rodgers, I'm probably drafting Jalen Warren late. I like the value. I'm definitely drafting DK Metcalf. I'm probably not drafting Pickens at all. If I owned him in Dynasty, I'd trade him. And you could wait, and if he gets traded, and goes to the Patriots or something, you could have more value. So you have to play that risky game of, do you trade Pickens now or later, or run the risk of him not getting traded and then his value going down. Hard to say. But if the Steelers don't get Aaron Rodgers, I don't know what their plan's going to be. Is it Winston? Would they be smart enough to trade for Joe Milton? If so, then I'd be okay with that. But I don't know if a lot of teams feel that strongly about him. I wish they did. The Joe Milton buzz has kind of gone away. BBQ did BBQ. Thanks again, BBQ, for dropping all the 50 gifted memberships, you monster. What was his new nickname? The the YouTube membership Maverick. Membership Maverick.
Yeah,
The gifted membership Maverick. What a name. Yeah, I don't know, guys. You know, what started out as a very positive live stream, I feel like I deflated it a little bit. I'm like, I don't know why I'm getting this like kind of like last second worry about Darnold. I don't know why. You know, if I could press a button to switch Darnold and Geno and put Geno back on the Seahawks and send Darnold to the Raiders, I wouldn't push it. Like, I'm willing to take the gamble that Darnold is better than Geno, because he is better. But do I know it will work? I don't know. There's just a little bit of fear, a little bit more fear now that it's all, the pieces are put together, and I'm evaluating it as a whole, and I'm stepping back and I'm going like this. You know how an artist steps back and they do this, they put it in frame. Like, they should know, right? They're an artist. They do this for a living. Why are they doing this? Because it's logical to step back, look at the big picture. It's all put together. And for some reason, in this picture, I see Sam Darnold. And I'm like, what is that? Oh, yeah, I forgot. He rebounded last year. Didn't he? Yeah, he did. But wait, how do I feel about it? I don't know. Feel confused. You know, if Darnold was going back to Minnesota, I think we'd all still have some questions then. Right? I mean, the way he folded, right?
No matter what on Darnold. Yeah.
So, you know, we just gotta worry a little bit. Just a little bit. It's just a little bit of concern. You got to package in the risk. I still think he can't be worse than Geno getting the ball to JSN. But here's where I think that I erased my whole board that I had my predictions. I don't think I erased it with my hand. I think it's all been my arms. But the prediction that I have for the NFL draft is that Dart may go to Seattle at 18. And I think, kind of like the Falcons question the commitment of the what's his face? I'm already forgetting. Kirk Cousins. They questioned the Kirk Cousins commitment level that they had. They signed him to a mega deal, but then they're like, we want Penix Jr. We want our. But this is what Raheem Morris said from the jump in his interview, is that he wants to have a succession plan no matter what. So it wasn't like on the fly that they drafted Penix Jr. This is what Raheem Morris wanted the first time he interviewed for the job when Arthur Smith got it over him. He sat down. I don't know if anybody knows the story. I've told it before, but he sat down for an interview for the Arthur Smith head coaching job in Atlanta that year. And they interviewed Raheem Morris, and they said, what do you want to do at quarterback? What would you do at quarterback if we gave you the head coaching job? And Raheem Morris said, I would draft a QB and set him in place for a succession plan. The QB succession plan would be top priority. And they asked Arthur Smith what he'd do, and he said he'd deal with that later and focus on the now. They hired Arthur Smith. We know how that worked out. When Raheem Morris went back and interviewed for the job again, he said, what did I tell you? And they said, you were right, and they hired him. So we know that Raheem Morris didn't make a mistake and freak out and draft Penix Jr. He was planning on doing that. I think that was such an extreme amount of money, though, and a high draft pick. It was hard for, I think, people to swallow that, and so people made fun of it left and right. But the drafting of Penix Jr. was brilliant, and we said that on draft day. It was the signing of the amount of money and the commitment to Cousins, which was the mistake. But Seattle at 18, this is going to be a similar version of what happened, I think, but it's a necessity. And I think people will be more accepting of it this time around because they'll reference the success of what this means and how it worked out for Atlanta. And I think that, Darnold, his deal is similar to Kirk Cousins. So there's some worry there, but I think Dart would be the smartest move at 18. I can't guarantee they'll do it, but I have a weird feeling that they're going to be a little skeptical, but we'll see.
I could definitely see that. Yeah. Because with a 3-year contract like that, it's really like a 2-year contract. So if things go bad year one, it's not like they're stuck with it. And I think they're paying a lot of the money up front, a decent amount, so they can get out of that contract year 2, even if they needed to. If Dart came in and played great, or if Darnold was a disaster. So gives them some flexibility.
Yeah, let's look at this Darnold deal. They don't have it updated. It's total guarantee is $55 million. It's a 3-year, $100 million deal. Average salary 33. Dead cap. I don't know why it's not updated here. What's the dead cap? Sam Darnold contract. It's not updated properly. I don't know that they have like the details yet potentially on the dead cap and everything, but it's quite possibly with the $50 million being guaranteed that it's a much more navigatable contract next year even than Kirk Cousins was. Wasn't Kirk Cousins' contract $100 million guaranteed?
I think so. And Mark in the chat just said they're giving him $37 million the first year. So after the first year, you only owe him $18 million.
Yeah. So I think that so at the end of the day, they could cut him next year, and it wouldn't be the end of the world.
Right.
So it's more navigatable than the Kirk Cousins deal. Yeah, I think Kirk Cousins got 90 to 100. Travis, I don't know if it's your line, but something clicks constantly. It might be when you go on and off mute or something happens, but it's like, but I did notice it's only on your line. I don't know if there's something going on.
Is it that? Let me. Is it that?
No. That right there.
That. I didn't do
that right there. Right there.
Yeah, that little chop sound.
It's like maybe it's Rock Out's thing.
Not me.
Hey, you don't know that. It's
I'll take the blame.
Well, it'd be. I mean, maybe we figured it out. It's like a. All right, boys. I'll probably be back tonight. I'm not sure. If there's breaking news, I definitely will be. There's a chance we don't, come back and draft tonight. But we've gone live so many times. But I'll see you boys later.
Yeah, I see you, Rocco. Bye.
All right, later, boys. Appreciate you. All right. Thank you, BBQ, for dropping all the gifted memberships. You monster, you. The gifted membership maverick, as our boy Kruger has already deemed you to be. Thank you for all the super chats, Alec, Aaron, Pierce, BBQ, Ricky, and Josh dropping the super chats. Appreciate you all. We'll be back potentially tonight. We'll definitely be back again. Like I said, if any news breaks, I will be back. I will definitely be back live if any news breaks. But we're going to end the live stream there. Kruger, did you want to say any final words to the people before you deuce out?
Absolutely. Stay loose, stay flowing like the ocean, and remember to drop a deuce. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and keep adapting and growing. We'll be back with more hot takes and breaking news. See you next time.
Deuce if you're loose, as he just said. Right, deuce if you're loose. We say stay loose, stay fluid, stay loosey-goosey, and he says deuce if you're loose. I mean, look, Kruger invents things on the channel all the time, so deuce if you're loose.
You got it. Stay loose, stay flowing, and keep it fluid. Deuces.
You gotta love it, Krug. You gotta love it. Yeah. How are you liking your time here on the show? You liking your new job?
Absolutely loving it. It's a blast being part of the team and bringing the heat to the show. Couldn't ask for a better gig.
And do you think that Ziggy is expendable at this point, or do you still have a soft spot for him?
Ziggy had his moments, but we're moving forward full throttle. It's all about evolving. So we're charging ahead with fresh energy and new ideas.
All right. We'll see you later, everybody. Kruger and I are out, and we'll be back if there's Aaron Rodgers news, just like we were here the moment that Cooper Kupp signed. So appreciate you all. Drop the Kruger emoji in the live chat. Do it live. Deuces. Deuce if you're loose. Loosey goosey. Everything Kruger said, do it live.
That's right. Do it live, everyone. Keep the energy up, and we'll be back